pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First, I'd like to start with congratulations to Mr. Jamie Cutlass on his election back to the school committee. We welcome Mr. Cutlass back. It feels like you never left. And look forward to working with you in the school committee. And congratulations to Ms. Kayla Biagioni-Smith for her re-election to the school committee. Be continuing her work with all of us. Thank you. At this time, I will entertain a nomination for the position of chairperson of the Tewksbury School Committee.
I would like to nominate Bridget Garabedian as chair.
Okay, the name of Bridget Garabedian. I can second that. Okay. Are there any other nominations for the position of chairperson? Hearing none, I will entertain that nominations for chairperson be closed.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there has been a motion and second on the floor. Name of Bridget Garabedian. All those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.
opposed. Congratulations, Ms. Garabedian. Welcome back as our chairperson.
Okay. All right, well, welcome to the Center Elementary School for our school committee meeting. This is certainly different. So at this time, I will entertain a nomination for the position of vice chairperson, and thank you all for the nomination and for the trust in nominating me as chairperson. So I will entertain a nomination for the position of vice chairperson of the Tewksbury School Committee.
Well, I would like to nominate Ms. Biagioni-Smith as vice chair.
Okay, and
Second.
okay, and a second by Mr. Cutlass. Are there any other nominations for the position of vice chairperson? And do you accept the nomination?
I do.
Yes? Okay, and hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that the nominations for vice chairperson be closed.
So moved.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Cutlass. There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? Seeing none? Congratulations, Mrs. Biagioni-Smith.
Thank you.
Okay, and at this time, I'll entertain a nomination for the position of clerk of the Tewksbury School Committee.
Well, I would like to nominate Mr. Cutlass as our newest member as clerk.
That's fine, yeah.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
Okay, and a second by Mrs. Biagioni-Smith. Are there any other nominations for the position of clerk? Seeing none, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that the nominations for clerk be closed.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Congratulations, Mr. Cutlass, and welcome back to the committee. Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session.
So moved.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. That will be for the approval of executive session minutes and collective bargaining pertaining to the TTA bargaining units. The school committee will reconvene in open session after the executive session. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Oh, sorry, roll call vote. Mrs. Biagioni-Smith, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
okay, and I say aye as well, so we will reconvene at 6:30 p.m. Hey, good evening. Welcome to the April 16th, 2025 school committee meeting. We're meeting tonight in the Center Elementary School, which is why our equipment is a little different than usual. I'd like to welcome, we have a nice group with us tonight. Some of our athletes are here, and our coaches, so welcome. If you could all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, so first, I'd like to congratulate Jamie Cutlass and welcome you back to the school committee, and Mrs. Biagioni Smith also, and then our new school committee representative, Maggie Kinnan, who also won an election with the student representatives to be able to join us for the next year. So it's great having you. Our announcement, the regular school committee meeting will be televised and recorded. It may be viewed live on Comcast Channel 22 and on Verizon Channel 34 on youtube.com/Tewksbury TV. Under the open meeting law, the public is permitted to make an audio or video recording of an open session at a public meeting. At this time, I would ask if anyone is recording tonight's meeting, please identify yourselves. Okay, seeing nobody. This is fantastic. This is going to make it so only one of us can speak at a time. So I'm going to pass this over to Mrs. Terry O'Regan to introduce some of our presenters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight is an exciting night. We have several of our winter athletes being recognized, as well as some of our coaches. I'd like to invite our athletic director, Mr. Ronald Druin, up to the podium, as well as Principal Andrew Long, who are going to talk a little bit about these recognitions and our esteemed guests. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Welcome back, Jamie. Appreciate it. Glad you're here. We had a fantastic winter at Tewksbury High this year. We had 5 league championships. We had 4 all-state champions. We had a state championship team. We had 2 hockey teams lose in the Final Four. We had 4 players of the year. We had just an incredible winter. Incredible. I actually reached out to the Herald and the Globe, and I asked them if they had any high school off the top of their head that had a better winter than we did, and they couldn't give me one. So a lot of fun chasing our kids around all winter and watching them have success. Starting quickly here tonight, because we got a lot, so I'm going to try to go through here a little bit of rapid fire, but I do want to be respectful of all they've done. I want to start with our wrestling team. Coach Kasperzak is a well-thought-of teacher. He does a fantastic job reaching out and connecting with our wrestling kids and tying them up with the youth group, and it's just our program continues to grow. And our wrestling team this year was Division III state champ for the 2nd year in a row. They won the Division III Team Sportsmanship Award, voted on by the coaches and the meet administrators for their conduct at the state tournament meet. We had 4 Division III state champions in Jack Lightfoot, Brooke Lightfoot, Nikki DeSisto, and Manny Mangata. We had 2 New England finalists in Nikki DeSisto and Brooke Lightfoot. We had Nikki get 150 wins. We had Manny and Ben Barrasso get 100 wins. 150 wins. If Nikki stays healthy, he's on his way to 200 wins, which is an incredible milestone in high school athletics. Coach Kaz was the Division III Coach of the Year. Fantastic group of kids, fantastic culture that Coach Kaz has kind of fostered, and these are some of the best kids we have in our building, and they're competitive as heck, and they are fantastic team to watch and get behind. So our wrestling team, Division III state champs, if we could get them a quick round of applause. A few of them will be back up for multiple times when we get to the all-scholastics and stuff, but if we want to do a presentation and a picture.
So I'll read this resolution of recognition to you. Whereas Tewksbury Memorial High School wrestling team showed unwavering dedication, respectful conduct, and relentless perseverance throughout the 2024-2025 season. These athletes met every challenge head-on, demonstrating discipline, respect, and mental toughness all season long. The TMHS wrestling team upheld the values of hard work, sportsmanship, and perseverance to themselves, to their parents and families, to the Tewksbury Memorial High School, and to the town of Tewksbury. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tewksbury School Committee applauds, honors, and recognizes the commitment and elite performances of the TMHS wrestling team.
Congratulations.
Mr. Marshall right here, he's going to give you the thumbs up.
Guys, come on back, we need a picture quick.
And now they're showing everyone else how that can be done, right? Mr. Marshall will give us the thumbs up once he has a good picture of everybody. So look, the guy with the camera.
You good? All set? Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Our next group is our Captain's Council. Captain's Council is something that we started my first year as athletic director, and we try to do different projects with our Captain's Council. All our captains in the school are captains all year long in the council, and then anybody else that would be named captain. For example, if someone's a fall sport captain, they have their breakup dinner in December, and now they're named captain for the next season. We add those kids to the Captain's Council, so it kind of grows all year long. Our Captain's Council does a lot of stuff at the school. Two of our bigger events with our Captain's Council are our Powder Puff game, where this year they generated over 500 pounds of food for the Tewksbury Food Pantry, and all our captains lead a drive for families in need at Christmas. And we took care of a handful of families at Christmas, and they had fantastic Christmases on the efforts of our Captain's Council. Mr. Long, myself, Mr. O'Leary, Dr. Osborne, we meet with the Captain's Council multiple times. I've brought different speakers into the Captain's Council. This year we haven't got one yet. We just had a couple different projects, but we brought speakers in about different leadership styles, and we did a social media one, how your social media profile should look, just trying to, develop leaders in our building. So these are some of the finest kids we have, our captains in our building, and every time we need them to answer the bell, Mr. Long and I grab them, and they're fantastic kids for us. So I can't say enough about these kids. They're the best of the best we got. So, next resolution.
All right, here we go. Whereas Tewksbury Public Schools recognizes the TMHS Captain's Council. Annually, every captain from any sport is added to the council and remains on the council throughout the school year. We recognize the leadership, teamwork, and conflict resolution skills our captains bring as they join the council for the school year. The TMHS athletes demonstrated dedication, pride, talent, and honor to themselves, to their parents and families, to Tewksbury Memorial High School, and to the town of Tewksbury. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tewksbury School Committee applauds, honors, and recognizes the commitment and elite performances of the Tewksbury Memorial High School athletes. Congratulations.
For a minute, we'll get a picture of them as well.
Good. Thanks, guys.
Gabby, nice win today, that girl.
As a reminder, students, your own whereas that's been read will be sent to the high school for all of you on tomorrow. Okay, so you'll have your own personal recognition.
Thank you. You guys all get that? Everybody's whereas will be in my office tomorrow. We can just stop by Mrs. O'Hare, and we'll get them all distributed to you guys tomorrow. So we'll cover that. Our next one is our All-Scholastics and our Players of the Year and some state champs. So, again, when you have a good winter, you get more publicity that, you get as much publicity as you earn, and we had some kids do some fantastic things. Boston Herald All-Scholastic was Johnny Sullivan in basketball, who was also the Player of the Year. Johnny's at a college showcase tonight. Brooke Lightfoot in wrestling, she was All-Scholastic in girls wrestling. She was also a state champion. Boston Herald and Boston Globe All-Scholastic, Lydia Barnes in girls hockey, led the Red Rangers to the Final Four. She was fantastic in net. Tyler Bourget in boys hockey led us to the Final Four. for our hockey team. Knock on wood, he stays healthy. He's got a chance to be the all-time leading scorer in the school. Nikki DeSisto, a state champ, New England finalist, fantastic wrestler, 150 wins, again, stays healthy, get a chance to hit that milestone of 200. Emily Pitcher was the girls basketball player of the year for our girls basketball team. They won the league championship, won the NBC tournament, and Emily did a fantastic job, and proud of her. We had a hotshot freshman who could have taken the ball, and Emily made it work, and did a fantastic job being voted player of the year for them. Like I said, Tyler was the player of the year. Tyler Bourget was player of the year in boys hockey. Johnny Sullivan, player of the year in boys basketball. Jack Lightfoot was a Division III state champion. Manny Mangata was a Division III state champion. We had a fantastic year, and these are our state champs and our players of the year. So, again, great kids to watch all year long.
So I have your resolution of recognition here, whereas the Tewksbury Public Schools celebrates the collective and individual successes of our TMHS athletes during the 24-25 season. Their victories reflect not only skill, but also perseverance and collaboration. We applaud their talent and devotion to the sports. The TMH athletes demonstrated dedication, pride, talent, and honor to themselves, to their parents and families, to the Tewksbury Memorial High School, and to the town of Tewksbury. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tewksbury School Committee applauds, honors, and recognizes the commitment and elite performances of the Tewksbury Memorial High School athletes. Congratulations.
Okay, got it.
Wednesday is a tough day in the Merrimack Valley. It's a baseball day, it's a softball day, it's a tennis day, it's a track day. Most importantly, it's a track day. So, unfortunately, a few of our kids couldn't be here, but we appreciate the fact that you guys want to have us here. And our last group is our coaches of the year. These people work so hard, and the reward is seeing the kids grow and seeing them get better. And when it clicks, there's nothing like it when you're coaching and the team finally gets it. It's a lot of fun. We'll start in the fall. Coach Jamie Bruno was the field hockey, Merrimack Valley Conference Division II Field Hockey Coach of the Year. Jamie's a hard worker. All four of these teachers are well thought of physical education teachers in our district. Jamie's a hard worker, tireless motor, works the weight room off season, works the weight room in the summer, does a fantastic job, tries so hard with that team, and finally we're starting to see some results, and kudos to Jamie. Steve Boudreau, our boys basketball coach, again, another well thought of phys ed teacher, hard worker, great tactician as a basketball coach, has done a fantastic job growing our boys basketball program. Joe Mignault is one of the most well thought of teachers, leaders, class advisors at the high school. The only thing Miggs has done wrong is he went to the tech. Other than that, if he was homegrown in Tewksbury, he'd be fine. He's a tech guy, and we ended up hiring him somehow, but he's done a fantastic job for us. Miggs does everything for us at the high school. Yes, Andy, Miggs and Kaz make it happen. And Coach Kaz is a multi-sport coach for us, our defensive coordinator in football and our leader of our wrestling program, and two-time state champs. Our wrestling program, when I go anywhere and they start talking about wrestling, there's not many schools before they talk about Tewksbury and wrestling. So these four coaches have done a fantastic job. I really appreciate the fact that you guys think enough of them to bring them here tonight. So our four coaches of the year.
So you're not spared from the resolution of recognition. The Tewksbury School Committee recognizes coaches who have shown exceptional performance and leadership during the 2024-2025 seasons. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tewksbury School Committee applauds, honors, and recognizes the many achievements of the 24-25 season coaches of the year, Stephen Boudreau, Jamie Bruno, Joel Mignault, and Steve Kasperzak.
give a quick, Phil Lombardi was the Boston Herald All-Scholastic last year in the, sorry to jump in, Ms. Garabedian, but Phil Lombardi was Boston Herald All-Scholastic last spring, and when we didn't have a chance to get him over the summer, I thought it was fitting that we brought Phil in, even though there's not a whereas with him. I think he deserves an attaboy, you know, so I wanted to bring him in. He came in hot after a tough loss in baseball, 2-1. We'll discuss that tomorrow. But I thought Phil deserved to be brought up here tonight, so if we could just take one more time, give him a round of applause.
Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you so much, Mr. Drew and Mr.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
And thank you so much, Mr. Long. This was actually pretty awesome. I mean, it was, like you said, a really, really fantastic winter. So it was a lot of fun going to these games. Mrs. Terry Regan, do you have something to add?
Well, if it pleases the chair, it would be wonderful if we could move up, while Mr. Jewin is here, one of our items in new business and the donation of the scoring table.
I'd like to make a motion to move up to section 19A to take out of order.
So there's a motion by Mrs. Biagioni-Smith, a second by, Mr. Cutlass made that motion, second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye, so that was unanimous. And so for new business, we have a donation of a scoring table. This does require a vote, and there are two considerations for this vote as we listen to this, if you could keep in mind. One is the accepting of the donation, and the second would be the approval of the advertising, so.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And in case you have any questions, that's why we moved this up. Mr. Jewin is still here. This is a wonderful opportunity for Tewksbury Mall High School. Power Ad Company wishes to donate a scoring table to the high school. There are no costs to the school district or to the school. The company seeks advertisements for the board from local businesses. The company earns money off the advertisements for the first 2 years, and then in the third year, any profit from advertising is a 50-50 split between the company and the Tewksbury Memorial High School. This donation, as you said, refers to two of our different policies, so I suspect you'd want to take two separate votes. I will tell you that Mr. Jewin and I did talk with the manager of the company, and they realize they have to fall within acceptable advertisement. Family-friendly was the word, the phrase they used, and all ads need to, will go through the athletic director. If we deem anything to be not family-friendly, it won't show. So this is a scoring table that has about a 10-foot LED screen, like a TV screen, that'll be used in our indoor sporting events. And if you have any questions before you choose to take a vote, Mr. Jewin's certainly here to talk about it.
You may have just said it. Who approves the advertising? Who approves the yeah.
The company would send us who they have, which Power Ad would send the companies that are going to advertise on the board to me. So eventually I would circle back to, Renner and Amy and Nancy, and make sure that we all approve them. We had a discussion with them that there will be no, alcohol, they know cannabis, and we know.
Of course.
Right.
So there won't be scrap games, there won't be any kind of cannabis facility, and there won't be any alcohol facility.
And even if there's a questionable word in the name of a business, we'll look at that carefully. And what was wonderful is Athletic Director Mr. Jewin was with me, and he called another local Massachusetts district using the board, and they couldn't say enough good about how well it's working for them, and that there's never been any issue. I'm not sure if I should give the example, but for example, a tanning salon had some words that were ahead of blank blank tanning, and they felt like that wasn't family friendly, so those words came off, but the company still advertised as tanning at this address and telephone number. So that's the flexibility that Power Ad will share with us.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
What about revenue projections? What do you think on that?
So they chase the advertisers the first 2 years, and then if you get to the third year, it's a 50-50 split. They said that on average the third year you generally make between $6,000 and $8,000 to get to the third year on any kind of split. So it'd be like finding money. If we get to the third year and we're getting a 50-50 split, it'd be found money, you know, so.
They warranty the board, they send the technology that comes along with it. And the gentleman, again, that we were on the phone with talked about just how sturdy the equipment is, and that they haven't had any physical, issues with any of the equipment at this time. And if they did, they'd come out and fix it.
A 10-foot LED screen comes along with a computer that has all the different graphics and advertisements loaded on it. And then you could look like I could load on athlete's faces and they would come up on the LED screen. Your defense chance, or if you want to put a flag logo on the LED for the national anthem, you can do that, things like that. So I spoke to a couple different. When he started telling me about it, there were lots of schools out west, and then he got to one of the schools, which was actually Shrewsbury High School, and in front of the AD, he couldn't say enough good things about working with the company and how it's worked out well in their school. So I think it's a home run, but
Let's try. And you can see, we can have our own customized logos, we can certainly have some cheers, if you will, and then the advertisements.
I just had one more, and this may actually be a question for Mr. Libby. When we do get revenue, what bucket does that go into? Where does that money go?
I would think it would fall under the athletic revolving fund, where we do gate receipts, donations, things like that that are related to athletics.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So after the 2 years, what's the warranty on the board, and what are the fees to fix? Is it after the 2 years are up, are we on the hook to fix it? If it breaks, are we on the hook to solicit for ads after the 2 years?
So the board is out after 2 years. So if the advertisers were to say, I don't want to advertise anymore, after 2 years, they recoup their money. That's why they keep it for the first 2 years. So they recoup their money on the cost of the board. But as far as warranty goes, they've been sounding to Mrs. Regan and I, like the board would warranty for the first 5 years. I want to say he said. They talked about how somebody had crashed into one, and it was sturdy and everything like that. Obviously, at this point, with the amount of people that use the high school, that would be a high school-based board. I would turn the computer over to 5th and 6th grade basketball with someone handling that we don't really know. So it would kind of be a high school-based board, just so we kind of can keep track of what's going on. So
And
what's advertising, how it's running, how often it's running.
so then after those 2 years, though, does Power Ad continue to solicit for the ads, or do we have to? No, they continue.
They want half the income, too.
And that becomes a 50-50 split.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have any questions.
Again, then, Madam Chair, I think there are two things. One, accepting the donation, and then granting permission for advertising of commercial products or services on the board.
Yep. So we need a motion to accept the donation.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the donation of the Power Ad Board based on the presentation tonight.
I'd second that.
Okay, so a motion by Mrs. Biagioni-Smith, a second by Mr. Moncada. All in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then the approval of advertising.
I make a motion to approve the advertising for the Power Ad Board.
Second.
Okay, and the same motion by Mrs. Biagioni-Smith, second by Mr. Moncada. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and that was unanimous as well. Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Jewin, for your work on that. I'm pretty excited about this. I think the games I've been to, I really enjoy these boards. So I'm pretty excited about this. Anything that adds some excitement. Next is Citizens Forum. Seeing nobody here for Citizens Forum, we now have our presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, in our efforts to balance our needed school budget dollars up against the ever-increasing costs of the resources needed to run our extracurricular program. I'm sorry?
Actually, we had our students.
Oh, well, we're presenting right in front of you, but maybe you'll hang around for the presentation. Maggie first.
If you'd like to introduce our company.
Well, we have Maggie Kinnan, who, as you referred earlier, Madam Chair, has been voted onto the school committee as a student council representative. So voted to represent the students of Tewksbury Public Schools, and she is taking the spot of Rania Alouai, and I told Rania by graduation I'll have the pronunciation of her name right, I swear. But Maggie has raised her hand to take on this very, very large responsibility, and we thank her very much. So tonight is her debut in giving us all of the information happening at the Tewksbury Memorial High School. We'll give you the microphone. Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm so honored to be taking over the role of school representative for the next year, and I can't wait to be the lens into life at TMHS, showing everyone what is happening around the school. Rania has been so helpful making this transition as easy as possible, and though it will be hard following in her footsteps, I can't wait to make this position my own. In the future, I hope to bring new ideas to the table and grow this position, but for now, let's get into the last month's updates. To begin, I have the latest on sports. Spring sports have just begun, with trials being held during the week of March 17th for our 8 different spring sports teams and approximately 260 students being eligible as an athlete. Each team has had a great start to the season, with track, tennis, baseball, and softball all having games and matches today. Emily Pitcher has hit a big milestone this season in lacrosse, reaching her 100th goal. While in boys lacrosse, they had an impressive 4-game win streak to start out their season. Our cheer team is already looking into the next school year, recently putting their date for their 2025 season tryouts. From May 27th to 30th, students entering freshman to senior year can try out. You can sign up by scanning the QR code on their posters. Tewksbury Athletic alumni have also been successful as of recently. Former track and field star Michaela Page took home the Division I National Championship for the girls 800 meter with UNC. Next up, I have some updates with TMHS clubs. Student Council was able to attend NEMASC, the Northeast Massachusetts Association of Student Councils, yesterday. North Reading did an amazing job hosting us for the day full of leadership, learning, and growth. We had 12 members from our council attend, along with 3 of our members serving as leaders on the regional board who helped plan the whole event. Both Secretary's Day and Teachers Appreciation Week is on the horizon. Because Secretary's Day falls during April break, we celebrated them today with flowers and a thank you card. Teachers Appreciation Week starts May 5th, and the Student Council is heading the event, but various other clubs have offered to donate throughout the week. Monday night, our Best Buddies program took a trip to Littleton to watch the breakout movie of the year, the Minecraft movie. Both members and buddies had a great time watching the movie and eating delicious popcorn. Our drama program will be putting on their final show of the year. If you're looking for a night under the sea filled with singing and laughter, tickets are on sale now for The Little Mermaid. Shows are May 1st through 3rd at 7, along with an afternoon show on May 3rd at 2. After a very successful state conference back in February, DECA is now gearing up for the trip to Orlando for nationals. Those who advance include 5 teams and 1 individual, with projects ranging from the Megan McCarthy fashion show to smart financing. In an effort to fundraise for the trip, DECA is hosting the annual Egg My Yard. This Saturday, members will go out to various houses in the community to hide eggs for kids to find Sunday morning. The National Honor Society just inducted their new class, with 55 students having the opportunity to join this year. The newly elected E-Board is already underway organizing tutoring and other community events for the upcoming year. In early March, our Interact Club hosted their 2nd Red Cross blood drive of the year. An International Club is excited to be helping with the cleanup at Pine Cemetery on April 26. At least 41 students are signed up to help throughout the day to make the community a better place. And finally, miscellaneous news. The junior class will be having their prom tomorrow night at Andover Country Club. The Junior Class Council has worked hard to fundraise for this event since their freshman year. Out of the 190-ish kids in the class, around 140 will be attending, with the addition of guests from other schools and grades, along with chaperones, will be a total of 215 people at prom. Before the juniors get groovy on the dance floor, they'll have the opportunity to attend the college fair from 8 to 9 during school tomorrow. This is also open to sophomores who are interested. With the end of 3rd quarter, the high school sent seniors to do the senior project. A couple of stand-up projects that I know of are painting a mural at a 911 dispatch center and baking treats for various first responders. For the grades still in school, for quarter 4, they have a lot to look forward to, including spring MCAS and upcoming AP tests in May and June. Finally, early dismissal tomorrow marks the start of April vacation. Thank you guys for listening tonight. I'm so excited to work with everyone in the future and make you feel up to date with everything at TMHS. Have a great night.
All right. Well, let me pick up where I left off. We definitely found it necessary to analyze the current state of those expenses along with our student fees. As you know, for many students, the extracurricular activities are truly the heartbeat of their success at school. Mr. Dave Libby, our business manager, has created an informational presentation for your review and consideration for the 25-26 school year and beyond.
Oh, there you go.
Good evening, everyone. So the hope is to do the presentation tonight, get you guys some information, and then look for a vote on this at our next meeting. But we had two meetings so close together, April 30th. We thought we could present some initial information. If you have any feedback or any further information you want us to put together for you to consider before a vote, we'll have some time to do that. But with meetings just a couple weeks apart, we thought we could approach it this way rather than dumping it on you and asking you to vote on it tonight. Give you some time to kind of absorb some of this, maybe get some feedback from the community, and go from there. So why we undertook this now? Fees haven't been reviewed for many, many years. Frankly, couldn't remember when the last time most of these fees had been changed or addressed. And our costs of our extracurricular activities are increasing. Everything from the stipends, transportation, just supplies, materials, everything is costing more. And our revenues we're seeing, you'll see during the presentation, that we're collecting are declining. And given the nature of our budget constraints, we're not in a position to absorb a lot of those costs into our budget. So we wanted to re-examine our fees at this time. So what are we looking at? Athletic fees, club and activity fees, parking fees, and for each of the above, we'll look at what our current state is, sort of a little bit of history, a little bit of financial analysis, some comparisons that we were able to put together, and a recommendation for each. We'll start with athletic fees. Our current structure is $150 per sport with a family cap of $600. So that equates to 4 sports per family. No individual cap currently on athletics, and fee established early 2000s. What we spend our athletic fees on, 82% is towards transportation. It's basically we're trying to cover our buses to events for each of our 3 athletic seasons. We fund some minor stipends, like if we need a coach for a particular sport that we don't have in the budget. Sometimes we dip into this for a coaching stipend or a particular skill, like in track. If we need a pole vaulting person, we might bring them in and manage a stipend out of this fund. And then 4% miscellaneous other. This goes back to 2009, the history of what we spent this money on. A little bit of our user insurance goes into that miscellaneous. We kind of divvy that bill up amongst all the funds that that benefit from that insurance policy. Kind of divvy that up amongst them. And a few odds and ends that would be like supplies or materials that were not budgeted in the previous year. Overall, this is kind of the same information in two different ways. So if you're a chart person, you're looking over on the left, graph of the same information on the right, with the blue being revenues and expenses shown in orange. You can see kind of 20, 21, 22 were kind of impacted by COVID one way or the other. But the years prior to COVID, we were generally covering our expenses. The years since, expenses have been outweighing the revenues, and we've been having to dip into our fund balance to kind of cover those overruns in those years. But you can see our expenses have risen quite a bit since where we were pre-COVID, and our revenues have dropped from where we were. That's based on just general enrollment, and the number of fees we collect every year is down, as we know, at the high school. Just information here, impact of the family cap. So basically we were looking at the 25 registrations and trying to see how many families have registered for more than 4 sports. So we had 5 families registered for 5, 7 for 6, and 1 family registered for 7. So the cost of the family cap, if you will, or the benefit to those folks with a lot of kiddos was $3,300 for 2025, and that's pretty typical of what we see in a given year. We also have a waiver for students who qualify for free reduced lunch that do not have to pay the fee. We had 99 waivers granted this year at a cost of almost $15,000 to see. We looked to see if that was in line with our percentage across the total student population. 99 waivers out of 748 athletic registrations is a little over 13% of our athletes that got a waiver for the fee. Total number of students on free reduced at the high school is 20, a little over 20, and free reduced in the district is 23%. So we're kind of in the ballpark with the number of waivers we're granting currently. A comparison of what we see across the MVC, Merrimack Valley Conference, and the Dual Crown League. There's a couple of leagues that we participate heavily in for our competitive sports. See, Tewksbury-Draycott, we're the only ones here at 150. Most of our competing towns are higher than us at this point. Some of them do different structures for a second sport or a third sport, like Chelmsford's 300, 250, 200. North Andover is 400 for the first sport, 200, 100 for the third sport, and different levels of individual or family caps, depending on how they structure their fee. There's exceptions, is different things we've seen for mainly ice hockey at the state level. There's another survey we looked at that had different fees for gymnastics, crew, different sports like that may come with a different level of cost. So if we took the goal to cover our increasing expenses, and based on the number of fees we've collected year by year, I just went back to sort of the pre-COVID days. This kind of does the math. If the fee were $200, the revenue we would have raised in 2022 would have been $135. We would have been okay that year, but behind the 8 ball in years 23, 24, 25. If the fee was $225, this is what we would have looked like. If the fee were $250, this is what we would have looked like here. So kind of did a few different scenarios to see where we would have to go to cover our expenses. The recommendation that we kind of came up with was to do the 225, which covers our expenses for next year with a $900 family cap, which is the same for sports that we have today, 150 to 600, and then going to a minor increase in 26-27 and another increase in 27-28. Kind of putting us in line with most of the other schools in our area by the end of 3 years, but we thought we'd kind of phase it in and give folks some time to kind of absorb those extra costs. There was another survey that's done by NASBO, the Mass Association of School Business Officials. It's kind of a live survey that business managers can go on whenever they have an update or it comes to mind to update their fees. So I looked at that and the amount of communities who responded who were under $225 per sport, and then the amount who are over $225. So this kind of shows us statewide too. We'd kind of be on the lower end of our fee structure with the 225 recommended for next year. On to clubs and activities. The current structure we have at the high school is a $50 fee with a $100 individual cap. So basically 2 fees for clubs, and then everything else after that. The students don't have to pay any more fees. At the Wynn, the Ryan, and Elementary, it's a $30 club fee with a $60 individual cap and a $120 family cap. So we're currently charging. Many of our clubs collect extra for higher priced activities, trips, things like that. For example, Ski Club, DECA, they fund a lot of their other activities beyond this fee. Again, fees established early 2000s. What are we spending the club fees on? Kind of more evenly spread out. Advisor stipends make up 42% of our costs for the past, we only went back 4 years on this one. Kind of went to the pre-COVID days, but that insurance piece is 17%. Supplies and materials, 33%. We do fund a little more in that area for our clubs. And then a little bit less in transportation. There are fewer trips. We've actually got a lot of our clubs and groups using our own vehicles, particularly this year if they're a smaller group and the advisor's comfortable, they know where they're going, they're comfortable handling the van. They've been pretty good about using the van whenever we have a trip that fits those criteria. So looking back 3 years here, revenues and expenses by school, revenues on the left, expenses on the right. You can see our revenues haven't really been keeping up with our expenses of late. At the Wynn, the high school, the Ryan, and our newest fee we've just kind of picked up this year with the elementary, doing the drama here at this school. And this same information up above, just in chart form. If you're a numbers person, you want to look at it that way, or visual, we have the charts that kind of show. But that trend is pretty well established across the board that our revenues are stretching, aren't covering our expenses for most of these groups. And the family cap data this is for the high school, where a majority of this activity takes place. Out of 676 registrations we have in Community Pass, 231 were unpaid due to hitting the cap. and the total fees paid are $445, which equates to $22,000. But the percentage unpaid due to the cap is 34%. We're seeing that there's no real. We think we may see some students signing up for clubs and activities that they may not particularly be fully participating in. So we want to make sure, that's why we looked at this, to see if there was something we could do to make sure kids were really serious about participating in activities when they do sign up for a club or an activity. So again, up top, current prices and the recommendation down below. We're looking at potentially going to $75 with an individual cap of $300 at the high school and the WIN. We noticed that we've kind of slid the WIN over to look more like the high school when it comes to fees for clubs. They were treated like the Ryan and the elementary in the past. We're finding that their groups are happening more frequently, and they look more like a high school club or activity. So we thought that school should probably be in the secondary category with the high school. And again, phasing in the increase, 75 for 2 years with a $450 cap at the high school and WIN, raising the Ryan and elementary to $50 per activity with a $200 cap for individual and $300 for family. So four activities kind of hits you the individual cap. 6 activities hits the family cap is kind of the thinking for why we hit those individual caps and family caps. And this same survey of school business officials, when the folks who had little less people had replied to the survey about the club or activity fee, only 32 were in our survey here, but it was split right down the middle at $75. Was half of the group at 16 were under 75 and half were over 75. So I think 75 is right in the middle of what we're seeing statewide. What this would do as far as the cap goes, if we projected this same population of registrations onto the new sort of cap rules, we'd only have 101 waivers for the family or the individual cap at a cost of little over $7,500 as opposed to the cost for the current structure of $11,500. So the percentage again is important here. Unpaid due to cap this year, 34%. We're down. We'd be down to 15% with this type of cap structure. So the feeling is that that's a little more sustainable over long term to keep up with our expenses and costs. High school parking fees, the last one we looked at, it's currently at $150 for a full year, $75 for a half year. Again, fee established early 2000s. What we spend the money on here, this is the revenues versus expenses. You can see our expenses have been increasing, revenues slightly declining, but we're always looking like we're able to cover our costs that are related to this fee. What are those costs? We pay 0.5 FTE of one of the high school security monitors. We have 2 at the high school, and because of their involvement with helping us with traffic in the mornings and afternoons, as well as their patrolling in the parking lot, we are able to charge half of their annual salary to this fund. 25% of those costs are maintenance costs, things like landscaping. A couple years ago, we did a seal coating and repainting project at the high school to keep up with the maintenance, funded through this fund. And 9% other, again, that small supplies, different minor items like that we're able to fund with this fee. And we're not recommending a change in the parking fees at this time. I feel like that 150 is more than adequate to cover the needs of the parking at the high school. We looked briefly into bus fees. Not really recommending that we dip our toes yet into bus fees. The rules on that are K to 6, we're not allowed to charge a bus fee up to grade 6. Grade 7 through 12, we can charge students who live a mile and a half or more away from the school. Those have traditionally been not very large numbers, and committees in the past have been concerned about lack of sidewalks in town, and walking in town isn't real safe for a lot of kids in those grades from 7 to 12. The wind geography isn't great for a lot of neighborhoods to walk to, and the high school isn't really either. So next steps, we're going to ask the committee to return for a vote and/or provide you some more information at our next school committee meeting on April 30th. And I'm happy to answer any questions or listen to any comments you have at this point. Thanks.
Oh, sure. I can go first. Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I have a couple things. I would have liked to see a progressive increase in fees over time. It's kind of tough that we have to kind of play catch up, I think, right now. But I think in the environment that we're in, it's warranted. I don't think that it's a drastic ask in the environment that we're in. But based on some of those other comps from surrounding towns in terms of the athletic fees, is there a consideration to have an exception for some of our more costly athletics? I think the only one that was on there was hockey, and I assume that's for ice time. But has that been considered at all for?
We've thought about it. Yeah. You want to handle this, Coach?
It's just, I would hate to price some of our kids out of a sport. I think if we go with the gradual increase, 225 to 250 to 300, it keeps it affordable for families. We start, you know, banging families for an extra $500 or $600 just to play hockey. We're struggling with our numbers our hockey program's great, but we're struggling with numbers within the school, which is obviously why our participation numbers haven't changed. Our participation rate is still between 38 and 42%, but we're getting 38 or 42% of 700 kids as opposed to 38 or 42% of 1,000 kids, which is why you saw the revenue in 2017 and 2018 be much higher. Our participation rate hasn't changed. The number of fees that we're collecting because of the number of bodies that are coming out is what's changed. So I would hate to price anybody out of a sport. And I think we can get that way. I don't think you're way out of bounds, Kayla, but I think we can get to the point where we lose 2 or 3 kids, and I would hate to do that by having an exorbitant fee for hockey.
The other piece that's a little unusual with our situation, where we share a girls' hockey team with Methuen, and they have a rink, so we're not paying ice time for the girls' team, but we have to rent ice for the boys' team. That would be a little bit of an awkward
it'd be tough
situation.
Charging girls. It would be tough charging girls an exorbitant fee when we don't have to pay for the ice. The boys are a different animal. We have to, like David just said, we have to rent the ice, but the girls' ice, we play for free because we're with Methuen. So we're not spending X number of dollars on ice, which is a big number. I mean, I'd rather not call the number out, but it's a large number what our ice rental is. Especially with our team being successful, we generally go into the middle of March, so we're paying for an extra half a month of ice, which is costly, which is a good thing because our team is good, but we're paying more money for ice because we're just going deeper into the tournament. For the record, we do get a little bit of a discount because we're considered the home team at Breakaway. So we are paying less than the other schools that are there at Breakaway. So
I think you bring up a great point, Kayla, and that is, what is our progressive approach? While there's recommendations for the next 3 years, we certainly are looking to fill in the, revenue versus expense increase right now. But should we look at this again? Absolutely. We should probably continue to look at it. Each year, we're setting the budget now. There's not been a huge appetite to look at it over time, but it's a necessity now. And it's important to note we're also bringing 8th graders on board for our teams rather than cutting teams altogether, because that could work against us. 8th graders are being wavered into our freshman team so that we can keep building those teams. So it's a delicate balance. I think the progressive measure right now is best, and then keep coming back and analyzing. If there's, we even looked at, should groups that particularly use transportation more often have a transportation fee versus those that don't? Because that's some of the biggest increase we're seeing in all of the extracurriculars. But right now, a fee structure like this, and I did want to note, maybe it's in your questions, with our athletics, there's only 3 seasons. You will play at best 3, right? So we have to consider that. And then with clubs, however, you could be in 6 clubs at the same time all year. So we know there's greater frequency there to shop. So I don't know if that was one of your other questions, but looking at the availability of spots was important too.
No, and all of that makes perfect sense, and it's a tough conversation to have, and it's not one, I've got kids that are involved in whatever it might be as well, so it's a tough conversation to have, and it's unfortunate that we haven't done it over time, so that it's a little bit of here and there. You feel a big one right off the bat is a tough thing to go into, but also that a lot of these families that are coming into some of these more popular sports are coming out of AAUs or club sports, so those are extremely expensive. Right, and that's kind of where I'm going, is that it is. So it isn't something that they're just getting hit with all of a sudden. It is I think it's still going to be a little bit less than what you're actually paying if you're competitive. I have a quick question about revenue. Is revenue just fees in this report?
Yeah.
Revenue, okay.
Yeah.
And then in terms of clubs, kind of a similar question. Is there a list of the clubs that we could look at? I think that we might get some questions about, for instance, a similar type of situation, ski club versus yoga club. Ski club is taking buses and whatnot, and that seems like a pretty expensive club to be a part of versus yoga club that rolls out mats in the cafeteria.
Yeah, sure. They're in most of our student handbooks currently, but we could pull those together for you and get them to the committee.
Yeah, and I guess a similar question for that as well is that, when you're looking at club fees, is that an equitable cost to have it be the exact same for stuff like that as well?
Those ski clubs at the Ryan and the Wynn, they go out advertise that, folks know when they sign up. They're not getting to ski all season for $30. The rental fees are baked in, the lift tickets are baked in, and they bake in a cost for the transportation for every student. And then they, I saw on Community Pass, there's, lift ticket with no rentals, lift ticket with rentals, and everything is a la carte for those groups.
And then the only other thing I would ask, Madam Chair, if you would consider a possible delay in voting on this at April 30th. We don't have a listening session before then. Unless we have an opportunity to really talk to people, I think pushing that vote to our May meeting just kind of gives people, we have school vacation this week.
Yeah,
I
'cause
just don't,
Don't we have one, I think, 2 weeks after April 30th
That's
meeting
what I-
too,
yeah.
so we could
So
probably
I'll
do it
just,
in May.
hope that we could entertain a possibility to vote on that at a little bit further than than April 30th.
Sure.
Okay, I don't want to hold this anymore.
Yeah, I don't think we have any
We have a
real
meeting-
rush or timeline to do that.
I think handbook and communication, whether it's April 30th or May 16th, that'll be the next step.
Are we May 21st? I think that's our next meeting. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay. And we do have a listening session on May 13th, so, yeah, so we could.
If I'm not on a jury. I have 3-week jury duty in May.
Oh. Okay, and
Be-
Thank you. Mr. Jewett, you probably speak to a lot of parents. What do they say about this?
I haven't hit him with, we're talking about a fee increase. I haven't hit him with talking a fee increase. The only thing that I've mentioned, they actually asked me down the MIA for they're trying to do a universal calendar for the state. So different cutoff dates, all the cutoff dates are uniform, all the tournament release dates are uniform, and they asked me to come down and hear them out. And I knew that we were talking about a fee increase, and part of their presentation was to try to reduce the games. And, you know, we're talking about increasing our fees. I can't give them less games if I'm increasing their fees. You know, so I can't go from 20 games to 18 games if I'm going from 150 to 225. I can't give them less of a product and charge more money. The president of the MIA, Bob Baldwin, actually grabbed me down the Cape 2 weeks ago for our conference, and he's like, Ronnie, you're spot on. We can't stay on that. We can't let them put that universal calendar together for all the schools that are playing with user fees, which are, you know, half the Merrimack Valley Conference has user fees. Most of your inner city schools don't have them. We can't give them less of a product if we're raising our fees. Chris, David talked about how fees are going up and expenses are going up. Across the board, state referees are going up 7% next year. So immediately, we're 7% upside down in just officials, you know, just to run the games, you know. So I haven't hit parents with that yet. This is kind of the first, I'm going to call it breakout, that we've talked about this. So, but to Caleb's point, you do get a little bit of a discount when you come and play here if you're playing those AAU sports. I'm just a little leery of somebody, you know, if they got multiple kids and now they're a junior or senior in high school and maybe they have a sibling that's in college and they're looking to they're not going to dump more money into playing high school athletics at that point, you know. So I'm just leery of losing athletes that way. We're struggling with numbers. We get a real high participation rate, but our enrollment is going the wrong way at this point, and I just would hate to lose anybody over that. So.
Okay. Well, between now and we vote on this, maybe we'll hear from.
Yeah, I'm
you
sure
can
I
certainly
will.
Tell us what you know.
We're out in enough games, so if I hear anything, I certainly will. You know, I'm available if parents want to speak, you know, so I certainly would circle back to you guys if I heard some feedback.
Great, thank you. And I like the tiered approach. I think that's fine. The initial one's going to be a sting. If, let's say this gets in, it's going to be a sting, but it is what it is. But I do think it should be looked at constantly now. If this is what we're doing now, 2 years, 3 years, it should just constantly be looked at.
Because with that, if we don't, you will have to make a decision at what we take out of the budget to fill in that hole. So that's the real crux of this. Either that or asking Mr. Jewin, which is a very difficult decision, what sports won't we run? So one way or the other, you know, we have to find a way to fund it. And you know, whatever that decision is, it's either the fees to fund the deficit, or it is to cut something, or it is to up our budget. And I don't think we're in that position right now. I don't think it, I know we're not, yeah.
I would hate to displace any student athlete, you know, and as Ms. Regan just said, if we got to the point where we had to start looking at reducing freshman sports or whatever it may be, we're talking about displacing 60 to 80 athletes. You can't take 10 freshman basketball players and put them on the JVs. Now you have 20 on the JVs. You got parents that aren't happy with playing time now, put 20 kids on a basketball team and see how that goes over, you know, and you can't take 15 freshman baseball players and put them on the JVs and have 30 on the JVs. If you decide we got to get rid of sports, we're displacing kids from the opportunity to play. That's not where we want to be. So, just talking out loud, you know.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I can say, we're not alone in looking at this. I think every week we're getting another ask from area superintendents, area, athletic directors, business managers. What are you guys, what are you charging for this, charging for that? So it's in the atmosphere right now.
Madam Chair, yeah, thank you, Mr. Libby and Mr. Druin, but I had a little different view. I don't think we should be making a profit, and I know you can't project the costs all the way out. You have busing contracts maybe, but I don't mind the 225, but going up to 250 and then 300, I'd rather review it every year at the beginning of the year and put in a number that covers our cost, and because we're at 250 and 300, we're making a profit, you know what I mean? And I don't think we necessarily should do that. I'm fine covering the expenses if we can project what they are. And I mean, if we have busing contracts that go out for 3 years, we should be able to do that.
Yeah, we could.
You know,
I could put some numbers together for you. I think our bus contract runs through school year 2026, and then we'd be bidding a new one. But we would have those numbers I know what the cost will go up to next year, so I could look at that. And
yeah, so I don't like the 225, but I'd be okay with that. But I don't want to go to 250 or 300. And I mean, some of the towns in there, a little different than our town situated, you know what I mean? And so I don't know, that's my view on it. I think 225 is a big jump, and I'd like to leave it at that. If we have to review it every September, I'd be fine with that. So that's all. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So I think I appreciate this presentation. Thank you for the time that you've put into it. First of all, I also really appreciate the fact that, all this work that we did with the Appendix B, with the last 2 contracts, that we've been able to expand and really talk about expanding into the lower elementary grades, all the programming, because I think that, we had some with community services at one point, and it's a need. So the only way for us to do that is to look at fees for, the at least elementary and, Ryan and for here. So that part I'm totally on board with. And I appreciate that we can offer all that we do. I don't want to cut anything. I love the fact that we have the amount of participation and everything you're saying. I don't want to lose athletes. I don't want to lose kids from, all the clubs that they're participating in. So, I get the athletic piece as well. I do. I think you're hearing from so many families, the uniforms are crummy. They want new uniforms for their kids, and then the transportation costs are bananas. I think hearing Mr. Cutlass say, maybe it's something we look at year to year, looking at the projections. Maybe we come back to you in May, and that's kind of what we suggest. That doesn't sound horrible. So the athletic piece is making sense to me. I also like the idea of, is there some way where families could go on some sort of payment plan? I think sometimes when families come back to school in September, or even starting a season, having athletes, you got to buy sneakers, they're looking at warm-up suits, they're hitting a family cap, you've got a couple of kids, it can be a little bit expensive, so it's a lot all at once. So, and then there's other expenses. So, and then you got kids who want to join 7 clubs. So, is there something that the school could do, and, the district, in terms of, supporting families that way? Yeah. And some families don't ask. So, for the families that wouldn't even ask you, to just be able to say, you can't sign up for your next sport until this is all paid, but, if some way we can offer that. And then the clubs, I don't know, Mr. Long, if there's something you've thought about, but when I look at this, at least the outward projections, that's tough for me, because some of these clubs that students are doing, that's something I'd probably want to talk a little bit more about, because, I mean, some of those clubs, like book club, writing club, you know, some of those clubs, that's a tough, if my kids came to me and said they wanted to spend that much money, and I know they're going every other month, you know, I mean, they're not meeting that frequently. So that's, you know, how equitable is this? Whereas DECA, you know what I mean? Like, I know how frequently my kids participate. I know how active some of them are. So, I don't know, that's a different conversation, maybe. I don't know.
We don't have the history yet of our new Appendix B process of closeout. So,
With that, I think this year, and again, it's new, you know, we've just implemented it, but we have worked with our principals to make sure every club is closed out properly, including athletics this year. So we can actually look at their attendance and the fees. We didn't have that process until we did that through the negotiations. So that'll give us some more, it's twofold. One, we'll have better information to move forward, and two, we'll expose some of those clubs that run that really don't have, you know, the membership because, well, it started, it was free, and then we just don't have them running, or they only ran 4 times a year versus, you know, all year, or like drama, the 3 seasons of drama. So I think that maybe some tiered approach on that, once we have more information, probably would be the next step here.
with maybe the same suggestions, we go 1 year, we'll go in and see where that takes
Do
us.
the 25, 26 season,
Right.
see how it goes and reassess it.
But again, I think every single one of those clubs has value to all the students that are participating. So, yeah, you know, you hate to price that, you know, price kids out of that stuff. So, I mean, I think, you know, we would welcome your feedback on all of that, especially at the high school level. So, yeah, I think we'll take all this and let the floodgates open for the feedback from families, because I think that's really going to make a huge difference in all this.
Just one other note, too. I know you mentioned the free and reduced lunch, qualifying certain students for discounts. We've had presentations that a number of families aren't filling that out. So maybe there's a way to promote that form more, too. I know that we've had that conversation in the past, that participation in that qualifies us for grants and whatever else it qualifies us for, making that aware to the families that that is an option as well. I didn't want it to
Yeah,
slip.
when I was talking to our food service director about that, she kind of just in the conversation, she broke down the numbers she had for the high school, and it was, I think she had around a little over 100 that were direct cert, that they don't have to fill out the form. We get that information from the state that they're already qualified, and then there was another 24, 25 or so that were from the completing the form. So, yeah, we get a good chunk of them fed to us, and then we rely on the forms for the other few. But it's probably not as prevalent as it was when there was an actual charge for lunch. Yeah.
It's missed the name of the form is sometimes misleading.
Right.
There's other things that come with it,
Right,
other than the lunch part.
right,
It's something we should stress in the plan session.
yeah. So, yeah, I think we'll have a lot more questions, but this is hard. This is
Yeah.
this is a hard consideration, I think.
It's, yeah, not a
you know,
popular topic at all that anybody wants to be looking at, but it's sort of something that we need to discuss.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Any other questions from the committee? Okay. All right, thanks again.
Okay.
All right, and moving on for the approval of minutes.
I'll recommend, make a motion to approve the March 11, 2025 regular business school committee meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Cutlass, a second by Mr. Moncada to accept the March 11, 2025 regular business meeting minutes. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, and those are approved.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll also move the payroll for the period ending March 13, 2025, in the amount of $1,737,138.43.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Cutlass, a second by Mr. Moncada to approve and certify the payroll period ending March 13th, 2025. Total amount of $1,737,138.43. For a roll call vote, how do you vote, Mr. Moncada? Aye. And Mr. Cutlass? Ms. B. Joni Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well for a unanimous vote.
While you're passing the mic back, Madam Chair, just as a order, but thank you. Mr. Cutlass, I believe you would have had to abstain from the March 11th meeting
March-
minutes. as
oh,
you
yeah,
were
okay.
Not here.
Change that, I abstain.
Yeah.
He can actually approve minutes even though he wasn't.
Can he? Interesting. I did. Oh, hey.
March 11, yeah, correct. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, well,
Oh, yeah.
go for it.
I don't.
Okay. You ready? Are you ready? All right, so I'll move the payroll for the period ending March 27, 2025, in the amount of $1,679,342.20.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Cutlass and a second by Mr. Moncada to approve and certify the payroll period ending March 27, 2025. Total amount of $1,679,342.20. Roll call vote, how do you vote, Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mr. Cutlass?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Joni Smith? I vote aye as well for unanimous vote.
Okay, I'll also move the payroll for the period ending April 10, 2025, amount of $1,682,603.33.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Cutlass and a second by Mr. Moncada to approve and certify the payroll period ending April 10th, 2025. Total amount of $1,682,603.33. Roll call vote, how do you vote, Mr. Cutlass?
Aye.
Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Joni Smith? Roll call, and I vote aye as well for a unanimous vote. And Mrs. Terry O'Regan for the superintendent and staff report.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Last week, the Assistant Superintendent, the Director of Literacy, and I all attended the Spring Title I Case Conference. This was a two-day conference, and it focuses on professional development for Title I district administrators with the goal of leading improved teaching and learning for Title I eligible students. The two sessions that really aligned with our focused district goals were using AI tools for teachers to differentiate instructional supports in the classroom and how to improve the administrator-teacher feedback cycle as it relates to those district goals. The conference was grant funded, and I can say it was just simply amazing, and as always, the time we have together to network with other district leaders to improve teaching and learning in ELA and math literacy was priceless. In your packet, you'll see a notice for the Massachusetts Association of School Committees Day on the Hill. This is an annual event that the MASC hosts, and it's scheduled for Tuesday, May 6th, where you, as members of the school committee, have the opportunity to engage directly with our state legislators and advocate for our priorities and needs. Madam Chair, I believe you're already registered. Mr. Cutlass or any member of the committee, if you'd like to attend, please let Ms. Johnson know, and she will register you. Also in your packet is the Valley Collaborative quarterly reports and newsletter. This is in your consent agenda. You have, as I said, the newsletter, but also third quarter finance memo and the March 2025 Valley Treasurer's report. With your affirmative vote of the consent agenda, you will be acknowledging receipt of these reports. You also have a memo from Teradyne. They are looking to donate $1,000 to the Tewksbury Memorial High School robotics team. Your vote for tonight's consent agenda will allow us to accept that donation. End of year events. Mr. Cutlass, I hope you received the spreadsheet that was sent to you. We've put together a convenient list of all of the school's end of year celebrations, and principals and school secretaries are busy getting that updated regularly, but it should have, I will say, 99% of the events you are most welcome to attend. There are just so many, and that convenient list actually helps you, divide and conquer, let's say. I'd like to note a couple of the events that took place since our last meeting and before our next April meeting. Our fourth grade students have certainly amazed us over the last couple of weeks with their outstanding performances. First, with the performance of the play Shrek. I attended that play with our Director of Literacy again, our Assistant Superintendent and her family, as well as with you, Madam Chair. The students were simply amazing. They were both tears and smiles when the entire cast at the end of the play started singing in unison, "The Greatest Entertainer," and then "I'm a Believer." Our deepest appreciation goes to the play directors, Ms. Joanne Garvey, Mr. Jay Harding, principal, Mr. Rogers, Robert Rogers, assistant principal at the Center School, as well as everyone. There was an army of staff and parents and volunteers who certainly made the show go on and pull this size and scope of a fourth grade presentation like this. So bravo and thank you to all of them. Yesterday, the fourth grade also wowed us with their biographical Wax Museum character performances. Each person, or each student, I should say, researches a certain person of interest who made contributions to the world. The students are still like wax statues until you press the button on their presentation where they come alive and tell all about their character. We're just so appreciative of our fourth grade teachers who bring that project-based learning to life for our fourth grade students. Our students did great. Also, before we meet again, you have an invitation in your packet to this year's Tewksbury Memorial High School Academic Excellence Awards. We hope you're able to attend. This is on April 29th at 8:45 at the Tewksbury Memorial High School in the Christine McGrath Performance Center. This is really where the seniors are showcased for all of their hard and achieving work throughout their 4 years at our high school. So I can't certainly name all of the events on our end-of-year spring grid that we shared with you, but again, we urge you to check out the spreadsheet so you can pop in on some of these exciting events at the schools. Ms. Biagioni Smith, you actually had asked us to look at sharing firewall access with the town to see if we could save any money. So I do have this response, as Jason Stamp, our Director of STEM, looked into that. Regarding the possibility of cost-sharing the firewall with the town, E-rate regulations would prevent us, and I alluded to this a little bit, would prevent us from doing so. We take advantage of E-rate funding for our internet and firewall. It is specifically for educational purposes and to support internet access for our students and staff. Sharing these services with a non-educational entity would violate the program's rules. So while it felt like a good thing to look into anywhere we can save money, that's not one of the ways. Let's see, announcing a new member of our administrative team. The new Heathbrook principal has been officially announced to the Heathbrook school staff. So tonight I want to officially share her name with you. This is Megan Corcoran. As a teaser, I can tell you that Megan has an extensive resume with experiences ranging from teaching as well as being a principal and a district curriculum leader. Megan will be joining us at the April 30th school committee meeting. I'll share more about her background with you. There'll also be a meet and greet with the public preceding the meeting. I also hope to announce our Ryan School principal at the April 30th school committee meeting. We are very close to an agreement and a commitment from a wonderful applicant that we had the chance to interview. And then Gail Johnson, as you can see in the agenda, has announced her retirement. We will be saying goodbye to Gail, our executive secretary, to both the school committee and to the superintendent, but not until the end of the year. Gail is with us through June 30th, so we'll wait until then to shower her with accolades and thank you for the 15 years she's been with all of us. So Gail sits in the sidelines of our meetings, and most people probably don't know the level of work she does to keep us all organized and looking good in our jobs. So that concludes my updates for tonight.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
When we get donations, any donations, are we sending thank yous? Is somebody following up? Does the team follow up? It would be
One
great
of
if
the many amazing things that Ms. Johnson does for us is, she already has the letter typed in the hopes that you would approve the consent agenda. It's ready to go out tomorrow to Teradyne.
I didn't doubt it. I
Yep.
just thought I would ask. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
My only comment, I wanted to just say congratulations to the Valley. I happened to notice in the newsletter, they had 6 audits
Yeah.
that were all
They're exemplary.
stellar,
right.
exemplary, so it's pretty fantastic. I think there was one that they had kind of an issue in the past that they had noted came back like stellar this time, so,
Right.
yeah. all
If you
different.
remember, they serve as an exemplar too for other collaboratives in the audit process. So they do a wonderful job. Again, I'll remind you and invite you when their end of the year meeting happens, where lots of the showcase, student work and the work of the staff, it happens.
Yeah, so congratulations. And I happen to notice also some comments about their adult program, so I just
You
want
may have noticed some of our Tewksbury kiddos, and by the way, some of their administrators are Tewksbury alumni, so I'm really proud to say that as often as I
Yeah.
can.
So, anyway, that was pretty great. That's my only comment. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Today, the Wynn Middle School hosted Genius Hour. Students pick topics in which they're interested in, develop a guiding question for their research. Each student presents what they have learned in a unique way. Today, we saw students wanting to be a soccer coach, chef, marine biologist, and software engineer, to name a few. Thank you to Chris Gagnon, Mike Gillespie, Dan Cho, John DePrima, Ann Gary, Michelle Silverio, and Christine Cody at the Wynn Middle School staff and administration for supporting these unique opportunities for our students. Tomorrow in the district is our last day of our multi-part series for our staff. It's an early release day. We'll be collecting feedback on the format from the staff for planning upcoming professional development sessions, offerings, and formats for next year. This is the fourth part of a multi-part series that's each staff member got to choose from different opportunities this year for a total of 10 hours of professional development around that topic. I want to thank all of the presenters that came forward to present these unique topics of their colleagues' choosing. On May 1st and 2nd, you can see that the high school production of The Lone Vertebrate was coming up. Tickets are $10 and can be purchased through the Cure 8 link provided in the district newsletter at the end of this week, along with the district school email s'mores. Finally, report cards were issued today for grades 5 through 12 for term 3. Please check Aspen for the updated reports. If you have any questions accessing these reports, please contact your school secretary. And that's all I have for right now. Thanks.
Any questions or comments? No? Okay. Thank you very much. And Mr. Libby?
You heard enough from me tonight. Thank you. I know, this make a new dynamic to the whole meeting. Thank you, Madam Chair. I have just a quick update on our application that the school department submitted for extraordinary relief from the Circuit Breaker Fund for FY25. That's the current year we're in. So the Circuit Breaker program is a program to reimburse districts for high-costing special ed expenses, and they have an extraordinary relief portion of the program, which if it looks like your circuit breaker expenses are going to exceed the previous year's expenses by greater than 25%, you can apply for this extraordinary relief where the circuit breaker, which is a fund from the state, will give monies to cities and towns during the year that we're in. The typical circuit breaker is we apply at the end of the year, the money comes in, for the money we put in for this year, we would get in FY26. With this extraordinary relief, you get it in the current year. So it's to help out these unforeseen expenses like we've seen this year. When we filled out the application, we were over the 25%. So we submitted the application at the end of March. They said it'd be about 30 days before they assess the statewide requests and what will be funded and what will be coming back to this districts. So hope maybe by our April 30th meeting we'll have better information on that. But we're hopeful that we should at least see some level of funding for, from the circuit breaker program for us for this year, which will be very helpful. And that's it for me. If you have any questions, I can hopefully answer.
Everyone, so if we were to receive some of that funding, and we've actually now, in our last meetings, we've been able to shift some of our money to our different cost centers. And then also with some of the money that we're looking in the warrant article to take money with the insurance changes that we're doing, and say we have a surplus at the end of the year, which it's not expected. Is that money that we could put into a revolving fund for special education?
Well, if it was in circuit breaker, it would stay. We generally carry a balance over in circuit breaker every year.
Okay.
These past years, that balance has been shrinking, but we would generally carry it over. So if the funding that we got in the extraordinary relief was enough that we had a surplus at the end of the year, it would stay in the circuit breaker fund for us to be able to spend next year on those same related expenses.
Correct, okay, perfect. All right, that was my question.
We hope to provide
Just a little bit more detail around special ed funding and expenses. If not the April 30th, then at the May 21st meeting.
And for our correspondence and informational topics?
I think in our updates, we covered the information as well as most of what needed to be covered in the consent agenda. I'm sorry.
Perfect.
Fell asleep for a minute there.
Yep, okay, perfect. And consent, so this would have to be just a motion, and then that would be roll call vote?
For consent, because there is a vote to accept.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
And, all right, Mr. Cutlass, how do you vote? Aye. And Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Ms. Biagioni-Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well for a unanimous vote, and that is also inclusive of the $1,000 for robotics from Teradyne. Then for school committee member reports, starting with CPAC, Ms. Biagioni-Smith?
Yep, so they have not met for a business meeting since our last meeting, but they do have a business meeting tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. at the high school in room B104. They are looking to do elections in May, so tomorrow would be their nomination night for anyone interested in a position on their board or as a PAL. So they welcome everyone to attend tomorrow night. We also have a leadership meeting, so the current board members and members of our district leadership team, Candace Thurat and Ms. Regan and myself and Katie will attend that with them as well tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, great. Okay. And these committees may change a little bit at our next meeting. We'll have to reorg those. We'll see how they change. And then wellness, Mr. Moncada.
Thank you. Yeah, I attended the meeting. It was just last week. So the committee is working towards a wellness fair in March. I want to say the date's the 11th, although I could have written that wrong, so don't take that as the gospel, but with a snow day. So it'll be March of 25. Yeah, or 26, excuse me. So the group is pretty excited about that. All the members are trying to contribute somehow to that. So that was basically the gist of last meeting.
And then our policy subcommittee meeting, that's to be determined. We have some policies ahead of us that we'll just kind of work through those and see where policy goes. And then for the school facilities study committee, I don't know, Mr. Cutlass or Mrs. Terry Regan, did you want to just give an update? I don't think we gave a final update after that last meeting that we had. Did you want to speak to it? How we kind of left things? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we met many times over the past year, and we looked at all the deficiencies of the Heathbrook and the Dewing School and came up with a number of recommendations. But the next step is May town meeting article for $300,000 for a consultant to do further work, looking at the Heathbrook and they're doing, and also to make, look at our recommendations and make additional recommendations as to how we can solve the problems of those aging elementary schools. That's about it. We'll probably start to meet sometime in June, I would imagine. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And then moving on now to, we have some policies here. So starting with, we have some policies that are before us for just informational reading only. So these are just more FYI. These will come before us two more times before a vote. So if you have any questions or comments on ACR, which is non-discrimination policy, including harassment and retaliation, IKF, graduation requirements, and JICK, which is harassment of students. Any question on those three policies? Okay. And then first reading policies reviewed and recommended to revise, also FYI, which is AC, non-discrimination policy, including harassment and retaliation. ACA, non-discrimination on the basis of sex. ACAB, sexual harassment. ADDA, background checks. EFC, universal free school meals. EFD, school nutrition program charge policy. JF, school admissions. JLCB, immunization of students. JLCD, administering medicines to students. JLCDR, which is the regulations for medication administration in Tewksbury Public Schools. And JLCDA, delegation of prescription medications for field trips and short-term special school events.
Is it EFC, the Universal Free School Meals? Does that get affected somehow with what's happening with the Department of Education? Does that somehow, with that, when that goes away and funding from that, does that affect that at all? Or
At
is-
this time, sorry.
Or am I thinking about a different policy? But that's what came to mind. Does that get affected?
I think if we have to change the governing agent on all the policies, we can do that, probably one clean sweep. But right now, I mean, it still stands that
Yeah.
there's free meals for all. So
Okay.
we edited the policy appropriately as to where we stand today.
Yeah, okay.
If we have to edit it further, we will.
Got it. Thank you.
Any questions?
And then we move on to, now this is where we have a vote for this policy. It's on its second and final reading, JLCA, physical examination of students. Any questions or comments on this policy? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the final presentation of JLCA, physical examinations of students.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and that's unanimous. And then we have no further policies. Moving on to old business, we have some comments on MCAS.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The district has successfully completed all ELA MCAS tests this month and will prepare for the math and science portion starting right after vacation. The shift to the new platform, Cognia, has been smooth. We are hoping to see the same for the upcoming tests in May and June, especially in our science tests, in which there'll be some new field tests that are inquiry-based for our students.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay. And now I think we're back to you, Mr. Libby.
Yes, so we've done several budget presentations, and this is the sort of the format and the final numbers that we're going to be going to the May 5th town meeting with. So we generally ask for a school committee vote at our meeting prior to that. A couple of changes I wanted to call to your attention. In the, it didn't really change our operating accounts, but in our fixed costs, which is something that generally we don't have a lot of say over, the debt number increased. So our bottom line grand total, which includes salaries, capital and operating, increased. We didn't take anything out of our salary, operating, or capital outlay because of this increase. The town just completed the borrowing that was necessary to close out the center school project and close out the MSBA, finalize everything with the MSBA. So that was about a $600,000 change in our debt, about $400,000 in principal and $200,000 in interest. So those figures have changed a little bit since from what we've been carrying in the January, February, and March meetings. So I wanted to call that to your attention. Also, on the grant page that's included in your package, the Title I line for FY26, you'll notice the warning is crossed out, and I'm carrying the amount that we had in FY25. We noticed the warning that we got was sort of a warning that a warning is probably coming, that we're trending towards losing that portion of the grant. It was explained in a letter we got from DESE. We're still in the warning status, but we're cautiously optimistic that the warning isn't going to affect our grant amount for next year. So that was a little bit of good news that we're hoping stays the course. And we don't find that out until July or August is when we get the actual numbers on those grants. Last year we were pleasantly surprised and hoping for that again this year. But those were the kind of the only changes, major changes since we met in March and the presentations from February or January.
Sorry, I was just looking. Any questions or comments?
Was the 600,000, is the 600,000 in the 78,897?
It is now, yeah. The number we were working with was $600,000 less than that up to this point.
All right, no, that's fine. Thank you, Mr.
Questions, comments?
No, I'll second.
Okay, so our total is $78,897,922?
Correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget for FY26 as presented by Mr. Libby multiple times.
I'll second.
All right, and for a roll call vote, Mrs. Biagioni Smith, how you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Cutlass? Aye. And Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Okay, and I vote aye as well for unanimous vote to move the budget for $78,897,922 to town meeting. Thank you, Mr. Libby.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we have some schedule, and I think, Mrs. Terry Regan, if you want to just take all of these together, I think it's C, D, E, and F are all.
How about we start with B? Because that's a very exciting one. I think more exciting than even the vote on the budget. And that is your vote on the last day of school. So, it is, it's awkward, I know. So the Tewksbury Public Schools 2024-2025 school calendar had an anticipated last day of school for June 16th, 2025. We used one snow day in February, so it's a recommendation I'm giving you for the last day of school to be Tuesday, June 17th, which is an early release day. We will follow an early release day schedule as well on the 17th of June.
Okay, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the last day of school of Tuesday, June 17th.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion by Mrs. Biagioni Smith, second by Mr. Moncada. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. And that's unanimous vote for Tuesday, June 17th, last day of school. Great, thank you.
All right, next in your packet, you'll find our updated register periods for next year. These dates align with our updated register periods that we just provided to you in February, which include the semester dates for our kindergarten program, trimester dates for grades 1 through 4, and our 4 terms at the high school. Yep.
Any questions or comments about this register period that's in our packet? Sorry. No?
No.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 25-26 register period as presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor to approve the drafted register periods, and that's for kindergarten, grades 1 through 4, and grades 5 through 12. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, and that's unanimous.
Okay, and next in our new business, again, will require a roll call vote. The interdistrict school choice law requires all districts to accept incoming school choice students unless the school committee votes not to participate. The school committee is required to take this annual vote. I am recommending to you, Madam Chair, through you, Madam Chair, to the committee, that the vote is not to participate in school choice program. While we would certainly like to consider this opportunity, I'm offering this recommendation in consideration of the following reasons: the continued concern of the increased student population at the Central Elementary School, and the potential, as Mr. Cutlass talked about, potential reconfiguration of school grade levels and reorganization of our facility use. So again, this will take a roll call vote.
Any questions, comments, conversation?
Well, how are we voting? Are we voting the affirmative or the negative? I guess would be the.
Well, I guess it would be,
motion be made.
you want to just make the motion?
Yeah. I would like to make a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent for the 2025-2026 school choice participation.
I'd second that.
So there's a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation to not participate in school choice for the upcoming school year, and a second by Mr. Moncada. All in favor? And this is a roll call vote. Mr. Cutlass, how do you vote? Okay, and Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. Biagioni Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well for a unanimous vote.
Thank you. And then finally, Madam Chair, is your draft of the school committee schedule for the 25-26 school year, obviously, for all the committee members' review prior to our next meeting.
And I'm just going to make a suggestion that we postpone any vote or consideration for accepting.
This is
these-
informational only tonight.
Yeah, until we have our fifth member with us, if that's okay.
And did we have a discussion briefly?
Yes, any comments or?
Yeah, I had one. And I know it's a year away, April 1st meeting, that I would think falls before town election, which would be that Saturday, because it's always the first Saturday in April, if I recall correctly. So would it make sense to push that meeting to the following week, because we may have a new member, may not have a new member, but it gives a new member the opportunity to not
I
have to
think
wait
it
a
was
month.
just a joke, right, because it's April Fool's Day? No, I'm
Yeah, well, you fooled me. It worked.
A good suggestion, thank you.
So yeah, that's my suggestion.
We can look at that. I think Easter is on the 5th, so Election Day probably wouldn't be the 4th. But let's look at April 1st as a consideration, Mrs. Johnson, and see if that's the correct day in April, we should have it.
We'll check with the town.
And then we'll bring this back with, when Katie's here, if that's okay with everyone. All right. And our next thing, school committee matters of interest. Mrs. Biagioni Smith, do you have anything?
Yes, I wrote it down. So I think I brought it up last time. I just would like to possibly reach out to the PACs for a presentation of their year of fundraising, events. They typically provide a year-end summary to us. I would love to hear, what's working, what's not working. I know there's a town-wide PAC meeting that occurs throughout the year, but I think it would be nice to have them kind of present their happenings for us and for anyone else who would want to listen. It would be a good opportunity for people to hear what some of the other PACs are doing and entice participation. So I know that's probably under future agenda items, but I just threw it in there because I will forget. And then also a shout out for the Wynn School. Their tickets are on sale as well for their play that's coming up. It's the same weekend as The Little Mermaid. It is Attack Man from Mars, I think, something like that. Mr. DePrima will be very unhappy that I don't know the actual title. But that is the Friday and Saturday. They have 3 shows, and then there's they're participating in the METG thing, showcase festival. Yeah, it's late. So yes, and people are welcome to attend that as well, and that's the Sunday. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 3 public performances, 1 festival performance. So good luck to them as they go into their tech week as well after vacation. And that's all I have. So there you go.
Thank you. I also attended today's Genius Hour Fair, so it was great. Some very impressive presentations and students. So obviously, thank you for the invite to that. I'm glad to have attended that. So that was great. There's been a lot of things to attend lately, and there will be more things to attend. And at National Honor Society ceremony was great. My niece signed the book. She's a senior. She's graduating. And then I also attended Career Day at the Ryan, which was excellent. So this is my 3rd year doing it. So it was quite a fun day for that. And then I also volunteered and participated in 2nd and 3rd and 4th grade STEAM nights. And on STEAM night, I made the most world's complicated noisemaker. It was a head. It makes noise. It works. It was supposed to be a harmonica, but it's a popsicle stick thing. But it was. I was told it was a hit, and it was great. So yeah, it was a good time. So anyway, just lots of things going on. So just saying thank you to everyone for putting on those events. So thank you.
Well, I just had one question. I should have asked earlier. When do we get the MCAS results? Like when do you guys get them, and then?
Yeah, well, generally over the summer there'll be some raw data, but usually you'll see things in the early fall.
In the fall, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
A couple of things. We will have, like I mentioned, some of our reorg assignments for our subcommittees we'll have next meeting. But I wanted to just thank Superintendent Mrs. Terry Regan for agreeing to work with us on kind of a new working group that we talked about to bring more student voice to the school committee. Kind of something that we probably should have been doing all along, but agreeing to work with a couple of members to go to the high school level at least to start. Not quite sure what that's going to look like right away, but maybe some surveys, but to get more student voice to the committee in terms of some of the feedback we get and some of the data and information. So that'll be a working group that we'll be introducing throughout the next school year. And then, as Ms. Terry Regan mentioned, I have signed up for Day on the Hill on May 6th, so that should be interesting through Massachusetts Association of School Committees. And then I also attended a couple weeks ago in Atlanta, the National Association of School Board Association, and that was to see a Massachusetts school committee member be inducted as the president. So that was pretty exciting in terms of school committee stuff. So that's something that I've been doing. And then I'm not sure, I'll have to check with the select board, but we'll have to also vote in our members for the school facility study committee that we've had, and then see what the situation is with the DEI committee. So that's it for me. Future school committee meeting dates: April 30th, May 21st, Tuesday, June 10th. There was a conflict on that Wednesday. And then town meeting, May 5th, and special town meeting, May 7th. We'll also be there. Future subcommittee and advisory committee meeting dates: the CPAC, as you mentioned, is tomorrow. Wellness, June 4th. Policy to be determined. School Facility Study Committee also to be determined, and our next school committee listening session, May 13th, also here at Center Elementary at 6 o'clock. Any future agenda items for anybody?
No others.
Nope, okay, and we could adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Aye, and 8:24 PM.